go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Monday night. Vacation is over. The boys are back for another edition of Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. This is the show where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly for the orange and blue. Tonight's show, we got a lot to talk about, man. The Knicks schedule is leaking. The 2022-23 schedule is slowly coming out, and we're going to cover it all tonight. We're going to go through some key stats from last season that, some good, some bad that we want to take a deeper dive on and dig in a little bit. Cam Reddish workout. The Cam Hive is erupting a little bit, Al. Cam Hive had a lot to say today. We're going to talk about that. Melo. Is Dolan selling the team? Austin Rivers. We got a lot to talk about, man. So let's lock in. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped, CP the franchise. Alex Rotaros on the ones and twos. And the Yankees are still getting lit up. Al, how you feeling, man? Besides the Yankees just looking terrible. How you feeling, man? How was your weekend, bro?
It's good, man. Had the week off.
Nice.
Still refreshed on vacation. Got a little sun.
Nice. Where'd you go? Where'd you go on vacation, man?
Went to Martha's Vineyard, man. Got to play a little pickleball.
Nice.
Some golf. Ride my bike. Just very active. While
That sounds kind of bougie, man. Sounds kind of 1%-ish, bro, if you ask me.
Not me. I don't know who you're talking to. I don't got that cash. If you want to send some of that my way, by all means.
No doubt, man. Glad you had a great time.
I saw that you yourself also went on a mini vacation as well. How was that?
Yeah, I was back down in Miami, doing Miami things is all I can really say, and made it back to tell the story. So, all in all, it was a great weekend, short weekend.
That sounds bougie. Man said doing Miami things.
doing Miami
things.
Doing Miami things. This is a family show, Al. So you got to roll with me here. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But either way, man, good times. Give thanks for everything. The schedule is coming out slowly, man, and the Knicks. It's just been announced by Fred Katz of The Athletic that the Knicks are opening on October 19th against the Memphis Grizzlies. RJ, John Morant, Julius, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Brunson. Let's go. I like that. Tough matchup to kick off the season, man. How you feeling about that?
I like it. Good to be a true test to see where the Knicks stand.
Yep.
Opening night. You got the Grizzlies who made it to the second round, faced the Golden State Warriors. They got some bad blood with them. Which that would be a good Christmas game matchup. That would be the headliner. So that'll be fun. But Knicks versus Grizzlies. Looking forward to see how Brunson faces off against John Morant. Seeing where RJ is, because you got second overall pick versus the third overall pick. Ja versus RJ. So that's going to be a good battle. I think it's going to be a good matchup, man. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Well, there's still more moves to be made, I feel like, around now. We're still waiting on KD, Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell. We don't know what's going to happen. So things could be completely different by opening night or status quo. But we're slowly getting that schedule. They got to stop teasing this stuff, man. We just drop it. Tell us, man. Just tell us.
Just tear the Band-Aid off and drop the schedule, man. I'm not sure why this thing is, dripping out slowly here. Pause. But, yeah, that's what we got. We got the 19th opening night. Christmas Day was also revealed. So back in action at the Garden, not against the Hawks. And Trae Young was a little bit disappointed there, but we got the Sixers. Harden, Embiid. Who knows what the Sixers team is going to look like? Could they have KD by that time? PJ Tucker, you're coming up against a reinforced Sixer team. So that should be a little bit interesting.
For sure. I mean, that's going to be a tough matchup. You're talking about MVP candidate and Joel Embiid. You're talking about James Harden. When he's on his game, he could be an offensive threat.
Yeah.
That's going to be a challenge for the Knicks, but still, we're talking about a division rival, right down I-95. So good matchup. either way. And for those that were asking where Grizzlies Knicks is going to be, that's going to be in Memphis. It's going to be at the FedEx
Yes.
Arena. So it'll be Memphis's opening night. Still not sure when the Knicks will be opening and what day and who will be facing, but well, not opening for like home opener.
Yeah, home opener.
To be specific. But getting back to the Sixers, man, Sixers Knicks, it's good. Get some division rivalry, get some blood boiling. You know, New Yorkers versus Philly fans, you already know what it's about. So it's gonna be a good Christmas day.
Yeah, no question. And I guess, and shout out Russell Reed in the chat, a lot of people have said this, that maybe the league is waiting to see, you know, where Donovan Mitchell lands, where KD, Kyrie land. But, I mean, those things might not be announced until September, so who knows? You know, I'm not sure if the league will wait that long, given that, you know, venues have to be booked and so on and so forth. So we'll just have to see. I would have to think that at some point this week, the rest of the schedule is going to come out.
Yeah, it's, you know, I get it, but I think they held off for as long as they could. And based on prior trades that you need teams to do, that's probably why it's going to wait until September, right? Especially if you're like the Jazz or the Knicks, where you trade for Pat Bev, you trade for any of those guys from the Timberwolves. They need 2 months to be on a roster before they can trade. So that's why September is the date that's probably we'll see some action. We'll see what will happen then.
Yeah. And then, you know, there was so much belly aching yesterday when the Christmas schedule came out. Oh, why are the Knicks on? The Knicks are on Christmas. Why are they doing that? Other teams are deserving. I even saw Knicks fans coming out against the Knicks playing on Christmas Day. Oh, it's like the Detroit Lions playing or the Cleveland Browns. I mean,
what?
Why would there ever be an issue with me watching my team on Christmas Day? I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
That's whack.
Yeah.
I want to watch if I have a day off, I'd like to watch my team in peace.
Right. Big deal. It was just crazy, man. You had a guy from, I had to clap back at a Cleveland news reporter who chimed in on it. I think he was just trying to get on the whole Knicks for clicks vibe. I think he was looking for a little bit of attention. You know, nobody cares about what's going on in Cleveland like that. So, yeah, I had to get at him yesterday a little bit. I just thought everybody was just wilding out for no reason, man. It's the Knicks. Deal with it. You know.
Yeah, we're not even close to being like the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions don't even have a championship, all right? They don't got a Super Bowl.
Right.
We got 2 chips.
They don't even win games, period. Not 1 of 16. So it is what it is, man. I'll look forward to that matchup. I'll watch the game, we'll do a little post game, and then, you know, get back to Christmas activities, man. Just be flipping back and forth between hoops and football as well, man. So definitely we'll look out for the rest of the schedule. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. I see the rhyme animal Chuck D in the chat. Let's go. Back at it again. Salute to Chuck. Got you. Open fight out. Super chat out says it's not a KFT show without a CP timely pause. Yeah, that's right, man. I almost called a flagrant 3 on that one. It's just getting back into the swing of things. We've been away on vacation a little bit. You just have to watch our words. That's all. Just have to watch our words. So we appreciate everybody for catching that. All right, Al, let's get into the next part of the program, which is some key stats from last season, man. So some key stats from last season, good, bad, ugly, and where the Knicks can go from here. And one of the stats that I wanted to talk through was effective field goal percentage. You know, it's one that, and what is effective field goal percentage for some people who may not know, right? We look at field goal percentage as a simple calculation of the field goals made over the amount attempted, all right? You make 5, you attempt 10, you shot 50% from the field. Simple math. What effective field goal percentage is looking at is it's factoring in threes and weighing threes more heavily than twos. So it's weighing threes by 1.5 times twos. So it's a bit more accurate, not all the way accurate, right? It's not the end all be all stat, but it's a bit more accurate way to tell how good is our shooting tonight. You know, how efficient are we shooting from the field? And the thing is that if you look at a lot of the good teams in the league, the championship caliber teams, even the playoff caliber teams, they all lead the league or at the tops of the league, the top 10, the top 15 in effective field goal percentage. The Knicks found themselves 26 last year, 24th the year before that. Those 2 years are on the Tibbs, and then 29th before that. And so for me, I think, the biggest issues are that our two top guns just aren't efficient players. When you look at that stat, you had RJ finished in the 12th percentile in effective field goal percentage among his peers. Yet Julius finished in the 3rd percentile. No, not 3rd in the league. The bottom 3. All right? The bottom 3. Quickly is another guy who's going to have the ball in his hands. He finished 39th. Not terrible, but not overly efficient. So I think that's a big issue. Because, yes, you can get away with not having a high effective field goal percentage if you're doing other things well offensively. We take Memphis, for example, right? You take Memphis, for example, team that we're going to see next season to open the season. Memphis, while they were in the bottom rung of the league in terms of effective field goal percentage, they're an elite half-court team, elite at points per possession, elite in transition, elite in getting offensive rebounds, so they're getting extra possessions. So while they might be overly efficient shooting, they're scoring in so many other ways, plus their defense was elite. You know what I mean? With the Knicks, it just we just don't have that. And I think that's where you look at a Brunson, who finished in the 77th percentile. You look at if you get a Spider Mitchell, who finished in the 73rd. I think those are areas where they can instantly help this team.
For sure. And using the Grizzlies as like that, let's just say as the comp, right? You also look at the Grizzlies and they play to their strengths, right? They're not a half-court team. Right. They're a team, as you said, that gets out in transition, tries to get the easy baskets, right? They're unlike the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau wants this team to be playing in the half-court. We didn't see a lot of transition where this team could thrive with a lot of young players, especially when you look at Emmanuel quickly. You got guys like Derrick Rose who can push the pace, Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett. That may even help Julius Randle, right? That definitely helps Mitch. We know Mitch is a lob threat. All those guys could benefit from playing at a faster pace, playing in transition. And that's where this is the biggest criticism of Tibbs, is being able to realize the talent that he has on this team and say, hey, let's play to these guys' strengths. Let's get these guys out running, out in open space against easy matchups, 2-on-1, 3 versus 2, all these things, get the pick and roll going, right? Now you could say, hey, we didn't have a point guard really last year, especially once we didn't have Derrick Rose to get us out in transition. Okay, but you put it into the hands of Alec Burks, who isn't looking to push looking to push the break, was going into half-court sets all the time. Right. Wasn't effective in the half-court set. Wasn't really running the pick and roll effectively, right? So what happens? So there's a lot of things that went wrong with the New York Knicks, which translated to their effective field goal percentage being at the bottom of the league, being 26 compared to other guys that you see in the playoffs. But also what helps is if you actually have consistent, solid shooters, right? We see that we're going to get to the 3-point percentage. Shockingly, it actually was pretty decent for a team that was so up and down last year. But when you're looking at effective field goal percentage, as you said, that weighs threes heavily. Evan Fournier going hot for one night, cold for one night when he was your best 3-point shooter isn't effective. Julius Randle regressing from being close to a 40% 3-point shooter or being a 40% 3-point shooter, I can't remember right now, to going 30.
Yeah, went from 40 to RJ 30.
Not shooting. Yeah, and then you're going RJ, who shot okay. He still took a step back from shooting 40%. He was in the middle, close to the mean of the league average for 3-point shooting. But still, when you have guys that take that much of a drop, Quickly was struggling at the beginning of the season. Obi was shooting UFOs, man, at the start of the season before he started connecting late in the season. And you don't have really consistent 3-point shooters, right? And you're not watching a lot of guys get to the mid-range outside of Alec Burks. Yeah, your effective field goal percentage is going to drop. So a lot of things that have to change for this team. Adding someone like Jalen Brunson, who will be able to facilitate and look for guys, as we saw during the Pro AM, which everyone else was losing their minds over. Someone that's looking for Obi Toppin or Julius Randle out in transition. Someone who's top tier in the pick and roll, who could help Mitchell Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Someone who knows how to get guys into their spots. That should help elevate our effective field goal percentage. Hopefully that's around, 15th. I'm not looking for a massive jump,
Yeah.
but start climbing the ladder, start showing that you're a respectable team that you have to respect on offense, where you don't have guys sagging off you on defense from beyond, at the top of the arc, right? From around the arc, whatever. That's all the stuff that we're going to need to see for the Knicks to take that next step forward and to see that effective field goal percentage take that jump this upcoming season.
Yeah, and part of the issue, as you said, is that this, even though they were 13th in threes, they were dead last in twos. They were 30th in 2-point percentage. And again, part of that is RJ and Julius not being as efficient in finishing at the rim. I think that's part of the problem. And so, and I mentioned earlier that I did say Memphis was an elite in half court. They weren't elite in half court, but I was talking about the other areas of their offense where they were elite that made up for their lack of efficiency in the half court and their overall lower efficiency in terms of effective field goal percentage. And so, in that area, like I said, you're hoping that the addition of a Brunson, potentially a Spider Mitchell, can help. Because you need that type of balance in your lineup. You need that type of balance in your lineup. And, somebody in the chat was asking, well, why is Fournier still here? Well, he's your best shooter on the team. So that certainly, that certainly says something when you're trying to improve your offense. Now, how he's utilized and whether he's closing games, starting or whatever, you can make that case. But there's no question that they could use his shooting on this team because there's just not enough. And that's another reason why I big up Quentin Grimes in the way that I do, because even in his small sample size, his effective field goal percentage was high. He's an efficient shooter. You need guys like this on the team to give you a more balanced offense. And especially in Grimes' case, his ability to impact on the defensive end when it comes to takeaways is another way that you can, number one, limit the other team's effective field goal percentage, and then also increase your own by getting some easier shots in transition, so on and so forth. So I think that's an important stat that they need to improve upon, and hopefully these additions will help them get there. Now let's take a look at rebounds, Al. Let's take a look at both of these kind of in tandem here. They did finish fourth in the league in total rebounds per game at 46, and fourth in offensive rebounding percentage at 11.5 per game. What were your takeaways there?
It's not shocking. This is kind of tied and true of like a Tom Thibodeau-led team. If you look at all Tom Thibodeau-led teams, for the most part, especially going back to Chicago Bulls, they're usually a top 10 rebounding team. They're taught to protect the paint and to make sure you secure the boards. But it also helps when you have someone like Mitchell Robinson, who's good on the offensive glass and just a good rebounder in general. Taj Gibson is a solid rebounder. Julius Randle's a solid rebounder. RJ Barrett is a solid rebounder. So I'm not shocked that the Knicks are able to grab so many boards. Even quickly towards the end of the season, Obi Toppin, they were both getting their fair share on their boards. And Quentin Grimes, coming out of college, that's also what he's known for. So it's not shocking that the Knicks are good at grabbing boards. It's what do you do after you grab the boards that's important, right? Yeah. So you look at them like, oh, it's great that you can grab so many boards, but you're still 26 effective field goal percentage. Sure, you're shooting well from three, but as you said, you're talking about being in the bottom of the league, shooting twos. You got to be effective with these shots, getting the second, the third attempts. That's where it comes down to. So it's not shocking. It's still going to translate to this season. You're going to have Jericho Sims, who we saw during Summer League, who we also saw in limited minutes last season towards the end of the year, that he's also a strong rebounder. So I don't expect much to change there. I know we lost Taj Gibson, a solid veteran. I think Jericho Sims will step up and being a solid contributor coming off the bench when he gets his chance. We got Isaiah Hartenstein, solid rebounder as well. So all those guys, plus you still have RJ. As long as Grimes is still here and not traded, as long as you got RJ, Grimes, Julius, quickly, Obi, we're going to be solid rebounding the ball. So there's no concern there.
Yeah, no question. And obviously, where the rebounding effort is concerned, you got to start with Mitch as well. One of the best, if not the best, in terms of offensive rebounding rebounds percentages in the league. Obviously, he cleans up a lot of mistakes for this offense. Julius is rebounding, RJ, you mentioned Grimes, IQ, Obi as well. So all that's good, especially in the total rebounds category, especially on the defensive side of things. It contributes to your defense, right? And we'll talk about defense in a minute, but it certainly contributes to your defense. Offensively, now we could speak to the amount of bricks that they're shooting from inside the arc.
That helps.
That helps, right? So you want to be able to take advantage of that, create some second chance opportunities for your team, and as Tibbs likes to say, spray it out for three and knock some of those down. So yeah, obviously the rebounds are good. It's just a matter of, can they convert that into additional offensive opportunities, into additional efficient scoring opportunities, free throw attempts and making those. We'll get into that as well. So overall, solid on the boards. Great job by that. I think they should continue on that streak, as you mentioned, with the addition of a Hartenstein, Sims taking another leap, Mitch continuing his play, a hungrier Julius, RJ as well. They should be okay in that category. Okay, so let's look at the next one. And, this one obviously contributes to their overall, lack of offense. They finished with the 22nd in offensive rating, even though they had their moments throughout the season. Last in assists per game, 21.9, bro. Last in assists per game. Your thoughts on that?
I think we all know what it comes down to. When you don't have a point guard.
Yeah.
You don't have a point guard who can facilitate, get the guys to rock, and you're relying on Julius Randle to be point forward and Alec Burks to be your, break glass in case of emergency, that Kemba Walker is not going to work out for you. Man, that is a struggle. So it's not shocking that they're dead last when it comes to assists. I mean, we saw it last year, too, as we watched all the games. How many times would you see the first half, ball's moving fine, it's moving crisp, everyone's getting their open looks. Second half comes around, beginning of the third quarter, grinding halt. Mm-hmm. Everyone starts going ISO ball, trying to, beat. You see Randall trying to beat somebody down from the arc into the post. You see RJ trying to go one-on-one and force something around the rim instead of trying to get guys involved, or maybe it's even Evan Fournier trying to put up shots. Doesn't matter who. Not enough consistency when it comes to moving the rock around. We always had in the first half. Second half, it just went away. So this is where you're looking forward to having someone like Jalen Brunson on this team, someone who's able to play off ball, as we saw next to Luka Doncic. Now he comes to the team like the New York Knicks, where they're, even though we're looking at RJ and as of right now is Julius Randle's the two guys, your two guys who are going to be the offensive hub for this team. Someone like Brunson, who's able to score when in need and find these guys and hopefully put them in position to succeed. We should see this assist rate go up. We should see this is where, I hope we get to close to 15. I'm not expecting a drastic jump because at the same time, you talk about how, maybe they get in rebounds because of all the bricks. Well, assists come from guys who are actually making their shots. Yeah. And if you're looking at guys who weren't effective, guys who aren't efficient with their shots, you're not going to get a lot of assists. So I'm not expecting a massive jump. I'm expecting Brunson to mitigate that issue that Alec Burks couldn't help. But, finding guys or just running simple pick and rolls, right? Getting someone like Mitchell Robinson, easy looks towards the basket. Maybe even getting Julius Randle involved in the pick and roll. Maybe he can do that and get some easier looks as well. Even RJ. Throw RJ into the pick and roll. Let's see what he can do as well. But that's where I'm hoping Brunson can come in here. I'm expecting that to go up, not dramatically, because it depends on everybody else who's going to make the bucket in order for that assist total to go up or average, whatever.
Yeah, no question. Certainly speaks to the lack of point guard, but just overall a down year in terms of playmaking. You were expecting, or you were hoping that Julius would have maintained what he did in the previous season. I thought he was excellent playmaking for the team 2 years ago. RJ needs to step up in that regard. Fournier had his moments closer to the end of the season when Julius went down. You saw quickly improve. The loss of D Rose. The loss of D Rose certainly factored into that. So again, depends on what the roster looks like, but you hope that a Brunson addition, Hartenstein's been noted as a nice passing big man. You know, maybe he takes kind of a bootleg Noah track and helps in that regard. Julius taking another step. RJ taking another step is going to be critical. IQ rose. We'll see what happens, man. But I also think the offense needs to emphasize more ball movement. You know, I think the offense needs to emphasize a bit more ball movement. You know, when I was doing my research on just overall passing and some of the better passing teams in the league last year, this was interesting. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let me pull up this stat. Pull up this stat here. This stat was total passes made in the league last year. There were 6 teams that averaged over 300 passes per game last year. Number 1 was the Sixers at 308. You had the Pacers, which was interesting. The Dubs came in third, no surprise there. The Hornets 304, Lakers 303, Cleveland at 303 as well. Actually, my bad. That was 2 years ago. This was 21-22. The Nuggets at 310, the Dubs at 310, the Pacers at 308, the Pistons at 304, the Hornets and the Pelicans at 300. And this was a quote from Steph Curry, just in terms of the mindset of that Dubs offense in terms of just moving the ball around. This was an interesting quote from Steph Curry. Let me just pull it up real quick. All right, here it is. Steph Curry. There he is.
I'm catching and ripping, or I'm catching. I'm either catching and shooting, I'm catching and ripping, or I'm catching and giving up. If you held the ball for 1 second, that's a grenade and it blew up and you're done. All right, so think about that. I need 0.5 seconds to make a decision, and that's when you start to get the dominoes to fall. All right? On the weak side, strong side, whatever it is. We're giving y'all some terminology. Remember 0.5 basketball. That's a good one to take back to y'all's teams. Just
0.5 basketball. He said if you got the ball in your hands for 1 second, it's a grenade. Yeah, keep it moving. Ish or get off the pot. Shoot it, pass it, move. And it's a philosophy that Willie Green had employed with the Pelicans. Remember, I told you the Pelicans were in that top 5, top 6 list. Cracked over 300 passes per game. Willie Green, most notably coached under Steve Kerr with the Dubs. Got to move that rock, man. Ball movement.
For sure. And even when I think back to when the Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs played the second time again, when it was the Spurs against the Heatles, right? And the Spurs won that series. I remember the Spurs. I forget it was in the last game those played, or second to last game. I think it was the last game. Pop has this thing called the 10-pass drill, and he called the 10-pass drill during the game because they emphasized ball movement. And who's under from Popovich? Steve Kerr, right? There's an art to ball movement, to playing off ball, which is why the Warriors are successful, which is why the Pelicans were able to make such a big
second half jump
splash in the and it's because you have guys who know how to play on ball and guys who know how to play off ball. The thing that we need on the Knicks is guys understanding to keep moving off ball. Everyone stands still, right? You watch the Warriors, you watch Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. Those guys are setting screens for one another. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Steph Curry setting a screen for Draymond Green. It could be Klay Thompson setting a screen for Jordan Poole. It doesn't matter. They're setting screens. They're moving. They're weaving in and out of screens. They're trying to get from one side of the corner, from the right corner to the left corner, going back up to the top of the key. These guys are constantly moving without the ball. One, to tire their defenders, but two, to make everything an easier pass to find guys and just to shift things around, right? It's movement. It's passing, looking for guys to make that easy layup, right? Or find that easy shot, because at some point, if you keep shaking that puzzle, something's going to
somebody's going to be open,
pop open. Exactly. So for that, that's what the Knicks need to do. But how many times did we watch the Knicks and we saw everybody just standing around the perimeter waiting? You know, it's like the iconic joke of watching Russell Westbrook or James Harden when they didn't have the ball and they were just standing with their hands on their hips around the sideline. That's what we had a bunch on the New York Knicks, man. We can't have that. We cannot have that. if we got we need guys that can move and just pass the rock. We got Brunson.
Yeah.
And that has to be but that's an infectious mentality, man. That's
No
also
question.
an infectious mentality. Okay. Knowing that you can get the ball back at some point, that you don't have the shot and you can give it to your teammate so that they can go get the shot. Once guys start getting into that rhythm, it becomes contagious. And that's what we need from the Knicks this upcoming season, man, because we can't have none of this dead ball movement and making it 10 times harder just to score a bucket. No more.
No,
can't
facts.
have that.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. We're just talking about some key stats, some notable stats, good, bad, and ugly from last year, and how the Knicks can either maintain that or improve. Hey, this is an easy one now. 26 in free throw percentage. And we talked about some key offensive stats as to why the Knicks were so terrible offensively. Effective field goal percentage, assists. But if you're not making your attempts at the charity stripe, you're also not going to be a very good offense. We're looking for high efficiency points. And look at Mitch being the number one culprit, 48% from the field. RJ 71, Julius 75. You had Burks was missing bunnies out there. IQ had stepped it up to close the season, but 74% from the charity stripe, man. Not going to get it done for you.
It's not going to get it done. And what's sad is that the Knicks were actually good the previous year from the free throw line, right? Yeah. They were 14th in the league. They shot 78.4% of their free throws the prior season, and then they just take a massive drop, man. You can't have that. It's an overall – something happened to the team. I don't know what it was.
It was infectious.
Maybe it was playing in empty gyms. Who knows? But – something happened where there was like a lack of focus at the line, and you have to take advantage of those. As you said, there's no ifs or ands or buts about it. That's how you win games. All right. When it comes down to watching playoff basketball, it comes down who can make their free throws. Right. We saw the Warriors get hacked during we saw the Celtics get hacked, but you're going to win the game. Got to knock down the free points. There's nothing else to say, man. They got to be better at it.
Got to. Absolutely got to, man. 13th in three-point percentage. 13th in three-point percentage at 35.7. They took 10 threes per game. They took 36.9 per game, which was 10th in the league. And they made 13.2, which ranked 9th in the league. So Tibbs, one of his areas of emphasis, remember last year, was to take more threes. They finished in the top 10 in attempts. Finished 13th in percentage. Not bad.
Mm-hmm. Not bad at all. I mean, you got guys. I mean, if we're looking from like percentage wise, right? I'm just looking at here, and this is not by volume. This is just percentage. Like, and that's where we're gonna like if guys are making their shots at like an efficient clip. You got like Taj Gibson leading the team, according to Queen the Glass at 42%.
Call him up. Call him up, man.
Man.
Hey, that's how he landed in DC, man.
Hey, man, that's low volume. That's out of 36 attempts, by the way. 15 for 36 from three. So I'm just saying it's percentage-wise, right? But then you also got Derrick Rose, who shot efficiently for his time on the team. Alec Burks was a good three-point shooter. Evan Fournier, he surpassed the Knicks three-point shooting record held by Starks. Then you got Kemba Walker when he was playing. He shot still efficiently. Quentin Grimes was a solid shooter. Emmanuel Quickley, even though his shooting kind of is like it stagnated. It was slow at the beginning of the season. He still was pretty solid. And RJ Barrett, like I said, still was around the median average of 35%. Not a terrible three-point shooter, just solid. So you had those guys. So it makes sense that we have a good three-point percentage and that we made a lot of threes. Even the guys that we're talking about who played such a short time, Kemba Walker, right, and Derrick Rose, still efficient when they shot the three. So it's not too far. As long as we keep that up, that's also going to be an important factor because you want to be able to draw that out. We're talking about pace and space, right? In this current NBA. So if we can knock down our threes, create space for guys that can attack the lane, especially for someone like RJ Barrett, get Julius Randle down on the post or get a clear lane to the basket. Even guys like Quentin Grimes, who we saw during Summer League, who are able to drive to the hoop. That all helps. So we need that efficient three-point shooting to continue.
No question about it. And shout out to Gamba in the chat who says these stats are exact reason why you got to hold on to Grimes. I happen to agree. I happen to agree with him, man. I think he helps his team, fit or assist in our, improving on our deficiencies statistically. I just think he does. From the 3-point scenario, I'm curious to see if Brunson ups his 3-point attempts coming over here from the Knicks. You know, didn't shoot a ton of threes with the Mavs, but I'm curious to see if he ups that number, you know, running the helm with the Knicks.
I could see it slightly going up. I mean, he also played with Luka, right? I mean, Luka
right.
dominated the ball. So how many shots can you take when Luka's like your guy?
That's it.
So, and then I don't know. Let's see. That team. I mean, they had so many 3-point shooters. Everyone had to be efficient when they touched it. So, when they touched the rock. So, I think it will slightly take an increase. I'm not expecting him to come out here and be like another Steph Curry, but it should be a decent.
It'll be no Alec Burks here. All right, let's hold our horses.
Man,
it'll be no Alec Burks. Who'll be sorely missed.
Still on the campaign trail, even though he's on the Detroit Pistons.
We'll get to that later, man. But yeah, you know, we'll see. As you said, you know, Brunson not playing with Luka here. Obviously, going to have the ball in his hands a little bit more. We'll see if he takes some more pull-up threes. Took a couple at the Pro-Am. I was a little bit impressed. But we'll see if Brunson takes a couple more trays in the game. Last one out, 11th in defensive rating. This one was surprising for me because of the way the season started. The team, I mean, I guess, you know, I don't know if we want to completely throw Kemba under the bus. It's not all his fault. I think, you know, defensive rating still incorporates all 5 guys, but it did improve. And they did improve as the season wore on and finished with a respectable 11th in defensive rating. Again, part of that was the rebounding numbers were good. You know, their opponent 3-point percentage was 5th. Opponent's effective field goal percentage was 6th. Opponent shooting percentage, they were 5th in the league. Opponent shooting percentages, shooting efficiency 7th. Field goals made per game 4th. Field goals attempted 6th. So they did a pretty good job there.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, because it was in the bottom. I mean, I wrote about it when Kemba was being pulled by Tibbs and they put Burks in. And I remember saying it made sense because it gave the team length, right? Like at that point, you have him and Fournier. Even though Fournier is not a good defender, you still have length on this team with 2 guys who are about 6'5", 6'6" around the perimeter.
Yeah.
So I think by adding Alec Burks to the starting rotation, like you gotta give kudos to Alec Burks for being a solid defender in that rotation. He definitely helped once Kemba was pulled. And I think you just gotta give it a kudos to a complete team effort because when you have rim protection from Mitchell Robinson, you got Taj Gibson stepping up and playing very well. Like he was turning back the clocks again for another season. Everyone just was able to chip in to show off some good defense. Quickly took a step forward in his defensive prowess. You know, like rookie season, he was okay. Then he was being tenacious on ball, fighting around screens, being able to trail his defender if they were going into the lane. So everyone was pulling their weight when it came to the defensive side. And it's also, once again, Tom Thibodeau-led team. There's only so much you're going to see a Tom Thibodeau-led team not play hard on defense. But the struggles wasn't the defense. I mean, it was an elite that we saw like the year before.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the year before, we're talking about a team that hit their free throws, was more efficient, and probably very, very gritty. That's the difference. They were very gritty on defense the year before that. They like to muddy everything up. It was like that. It was like the reminiscence of like the '90s Knicks to a certain extent. Not the physicality, but to the extent where when you played the Knicks 2 years ago, you knew you're going to have to fight a solid defensive team. Knicks were solid defensively, but there was just not enough consistent offense to even it all out.
Yeah, no question. And I also think it's interesting to see that they finished there because they're not they only finished in 28th in terms of turnovers per game. They're not a team that turns you over. They weren't an aggressive team. Yes, block shots were there. Obviously, you give credit to Mitch and you give credit to Sims and so on. But in terms of steals, other turnovers, they weren't. They were at the bottom of the league. You know, so still finishing at 11th in defensive rating wasn't bad at all last year.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't see that falling off too much. I think we got younger, so we got guys who are more spry. I think we also have, or I know we also have young guys that want to make a name for themselves. You look at Jericho Sims, Quentin Grimes is still here. Like I said, you got Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, guys who are going to have a chip on their shoulder to show what they can offer this team. right, to show what they can offer in this league. So I don't see the defense taking a step back. I can see it staying status quo. But overall, it's a Tom Thibodeau-led team, man. Like, I don't see, like, if there's one thing we can probably count on is that defense will be solid, you know?
Yeah.
And unlike the Timberwolves team, it's not Karl Anthony Towns out there being your anchor. We got Mitchell Robinson, who's a solid defensive anchor. All right. And he showed that he can be. He showed they can offer that rim protection. Also, you talk about the rebounding, too. This is where defense takes a step up. When you're able to secure those rebounds, get those defensive rebounds, it all adds in. And if we're a solid rebounding team, that defensive rating is going to take a step up.
No question about it, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. CP the franchise. Alex Ratar's the Stratocaster in the building. Just went through the key stats of last year and where we want to see the Knicks improve and some of the good ones that we feel like the Knicks can maintain or exceed. If you guys are new in the chat, drop a hashtag new in the chat. Let us know where you guys are repping from as well, and we will shout you guys out. Shout out to the Rhyme Animal Chuck D, man. $20 super chat. He says, that is why Steph is Steph. The Warriors showed NBA how to play team basketball while the rest of the league try to market to stars in lieu of bags and social media profile and fame. We can easily learn what style needed. Hey, hopefully Tibbs should be calling Steve Kerr like, hey, man. Let me get into that rhyme book a little bit. But, yeah, it certainly helps to have a player like Steph, man, with all the gravity that he commands. And, hey, you got to respect him, man. The champs are the champs. Shout out to Brandon Douglas, repping from New York. Brandon, welcome to the show, man. How you feeling? He says, from a Warriors fan, Brunson is a dog. Shout out to Haha. Okay, so we got Warriors fans in the building here, Al. So we got some visitors, man. Salute to him. If you guys want to call in, man, phone lines are up as well. 657-383-1509 is the number to call. Shout out to Mario Weddle checking in from Memphis. Shout out to Mario. Mario, you gotta pull up to the Knicks game, man. Opening night, October 19th. Knicks taking on Ja and the Grizzlies. Make sure you guys pull up to that. Definitely gonna be a good one. Let's see what other super chats have come in so far. Let me salute Gambaretti. Got you open. Definitely appreciate it. Jay Breezy NY says, he says swap to Instagram, my dude. I'm not sure what that means. Swap to Instagram. Not sure what that means, Jay Breezy, but definitely appreciate the comment. Shout out to TM in the chat. Jamel White, repping LI. Brandon Vega, NYC in the building. We got Drizzy left for at Queens. Shout out to Nori and them. Okay, so we got a heavy New York crew tonight. Shout out Johnny checking in from Arizona, but a heavy New York crew tonight. Okay,
let's go.
Yeah, man. So we went through the stats. Now, over the weekend, in the past couple of days, some Cam Reddish highlights came about. You know, this is off-season workout season, and Cam was out there putting in some workout. He was showing off a little pull-up game, you know, slashing to the hoop, little corner three. So the Cam Hive erupted, man. We posted this on Instagram, posted this on YouTube, and the comments are hilarious, man. Let me go through some of these comments in real time just to show you how crazy the Cam Hive is right now. Let me go through a couple of comments, man. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's read together as a family here. Let's do a little family reading. All right, so we have. Let me read something here. So we have. Let's see. We have some Paul George comparisons. We have Drew Rose Dolo King says, where is he going to fit? Seriously. Socks a Million says, contract year, he's about to ball out. I am Jay Kerr on Instagram says, you can really see the Paul George-like similarities in his game. You got Borg Wav says, I think he makes RJ expendable. So,
my goodness.
Listen, man. Johnny Skakura says, I would love to have him in the rotation. Too bad Tibbs is our coach. I think that's a more realistic one. Glory lives. Cam got Paul George potential if he stays on the court. And then you have the people say, this is just a workout. He's going too slow. He has got no motor. A Legacy Classic says nothing, LOL. So there you have it, man. You know, you have Legend to he's not going to be good for us.
And everything in between.
And everything in between. You know, everything in between. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
Man. Oh, boy. Where do we start with this?
I mean, look, you know, we know what they paid for him. I thought this was an organizational mishap in terms of trading for a kid who you didn't really have a concrete plan for. You know, this isn't trading for a veteran to help you for the dog days, to get you through, to make a playoff push, solidify your bench. This is a kid who has potential, has promise. He's a lottery pick, falling on tough times, who needs playing time to see what you have. And he's on a contract. His contract is expiring. So the clock is ticking. The sands in the hourglass are going down. You don't have much organizational control. And you have to evaluate him on a team that you've stacked up with more young players and more vets. Trick dicey situation. I look at his skill sets, his potential. It's all there, right? It's all there. Potential 3-level scorer, potential good defender, 6'8", wingspan, all of that good stuff. But I look at a rotation right now. This is no Mitchell. Your starting 5 is Brunson, RJ, Fournier, Randall, Mitch. Your bench is IQ, Rose. I'm putting Grimes in there, Obi, and Hartenstein. Where's he fitting? Where's he fitting? I don't see it.
This is the whole question, right? Although I would switch Grimes and Fournier. I don't know why you keep putting Fournier in the starting rotation.
Fournier's not coming at that starting spot. Not yet. I'm trying to tell you. When training camp starts, preseason starts October 2nd against the Pistons, Fournier's starting at the 3, man. The 2, the 3, wherever you want to put him. He's starting.
It's going to be Grimes, man. It's going to be Grimes.
I hope so. I hope so. But go ahead.
Look, you said everything. It's right. You know, it's a crowded rotation. I'd still like to see him get playing time, 100%. I have a feeling he's going to be traded, man. I honestly do.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already in trade rumors to the Lakers before last season. It stinks because I think he does have potential to offer to this team. He's got the frame. He makes it look easy on the court. It all comes down to, can he put it all together? Can he stay healthy? All of these things. You know, he was injured when he got here. He was injured towards the end of the season. You know, he's had a rough NBA career. All right. It's not his own doing. It's just start off where he wasn't shooting well. Then he started getting into a rhythm. We saw some sparks during when he played against Milwaukee 2 seasons ago. You saw some of it when he finally started to crack the rotation for the Knicks last season, right? And we saw a little bit of something down in Atlanta before he came here. He's got some talent. He needs the opportunity. Why the Knicks traded for him if they're not thinking about playing for him, going to play him, makes no sense to me. I don't like the idea of just trading for a guy with an expiring contract. Sure, you could say, and I believe that he still does have some value. I think there's more. There's definitely, it's a fact that there's more intrigue in Cam Reddish than what we had in Kevin Knox. Maybe they see this as, all right, Kevin Knox, he's on this last year. We're not going to use him after this. Let's trade him. We get Cam Reddish, stressed asset. Teams around the league still find that there's this unknown. What can Cam Reddish be? If we finally get him in our system and give him an opportunity to see what he can offer a team. So I think he's more of a trade piece. I think they would have loved to see what he could have offered the team last season. At this point, if he can't crack the rotation because of how crowded it is, I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks trade him. I would hate to see him go because we don't have a guy of his arc of his type. We don't have a guy who offers, that type of wingspan, that type of ability to score when he's in rhythm. I think the things that he needs to work on is being a little bit more structured in an offensive system before he can start freelancing and doing the step back jumpers, just start playing in a more structured, organized way that teams want him to play. And not saying that he hasn't, I'm not saying that he hasn't. I think teams just want to see him do it more on a consistent basis. Okay. Because there's times, especially when he was on the Knicks, he would just go free ball, take a step back. It's like, why are you taking a step back jumper there? That's not what this is calling for right now. We're down. We're trying to knock away some points. Let's just see if we can get it. When he cuts to the basket, when he makes a definitive, like when he makes a decision on what he wants to do, that's when he's playing his best basketball. I think that's what teams want to see first. And maybe down the line, you do give him that responsibility. You do give him that wiggle room to be like, all right, go create for yourself. Go help this team. Go get us a bucket right now. But I think teams want to see the little stuff first to show that he could be a team player before they give him that big responsibility. I think he can do it. I would like to see him do it on the Knicks. But the way that everything's transpired right now, I don't see it happening here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's trade bait right now. Now, again, let's see. The Mitchell thing, if it happens, could blow this whole thing up. Right? Where you could lose Grimes, and now you need Cam. And maybe you do lose Grimes, and now you got Cam featured in your second unit. Which ideally, to me, if he wants a bigger role in the offense right now, to me, that's a better place for him to showcase himself, to dominate the ball a little bit more. Depending on who you have here, if you still have a Rose here who may want to defer to him a little bit, you have an IQ here, I think the second unit would be a better look for him than to be in the starting unit with 3 ball dominant guys and 2 other inefficient offensive players in Julius and RJ. You need balance in that line. We just talked about effective field goal percentage. We just talked about having a more efficient offense, which to me lends to why a Fournier is still going to be in this lineup and still going to be a prominent member of this lineup. And even though I want to see Grimes starting, I think Grimes is going to finish. But I think Cam, if he is on this team and he does get a role, I think it'd be better to come off the bench, feature him there. And then who knows? Maybe you mix and match to close games and whatnot. But right now, like I said, I don't see how he factors into this rotation unless he severely outplays somebody, or somebody gets injured, which is possible.
I think you could be a solid starter on this team. I think the team has to be reconstructed in order for him to be up there, because I think it would be awesome to see him and RJ being your wing players, and being more out in transition than what we have right now. Obviously, you're just not going to promote someone like Cam Reddish, who hasn't even played enough bench minutes to being in a starting rotation. And that's what he wanted when he was down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Atlanta was like, we're not doing that. We still need you to show that you can come off the bench and be a productive player for us before we give you that much of a promotion, to give you that many more minutes, to give you a bigger role. Like, can you just show us you can do this? But we know he's represented by Clutch. They advocate for their players to get those minutes. They advocate for all of them, so that way they can go get paid. They can go get paid, as his agency should do, 100%. When Cam wanted to leave Atlanta, it was to go get a bigger role. Why the Knicks got him? Because they couldn't offer him that bigger role. Still makes no sense to this day.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense. I still think if you have him, he could definitely help. But we are not constructed to give him that opportunity right now. Unless he dominates, as you said, if he dominates in practice, and then he can show that he can do everything that Tibbs is asking for him, then he better get some playing time.
Yeah.
But until that comes, or what happens, as of right now, it's an uphill battle for Cam Reddish, and it stinks because I think he's a really good player. I like Cam. I just don't see how the Knicks are the fit for him. It's still I get why the Knicks did it. I think he's just a trade asset to make another team like, oh, we believe in Cam, let's trade for Cam. I believe that's why they did it. With the intrigue of maybe we can get a little sneak preview.
Yeah.
Didn't get a sneak preview, but I think he's gonna get traded, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man. Cam Hive, stand up. Where you at? Call us up, 657-383-1509, or hit us up on the Knicks Fan TV Discord. What is the plan for Cam? Let us know what you guys think, man. Remember that this show is presented by Manscaped, fellas. We are still in the dog days of summer. Make sure you guys are activating Michael Jordan mode. We're not in Van Gundy right now. We came out of Van Gundy. We're in MJ mode, and that is with the Lawnmower 4.0, fellas. Sleek aerodynamic design. You have an LED spotlight. You have your ceramic skin-safe technology, and it's a great tool, man. Waterproof and great battery life, fellas. So go to manscaped.com, enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. And as I always say, man, they have a ton of great products for today's man, not just the Lawnmower 4.0, but they have your body wash, your shampoos and conditioners, your lotions, your ball deodorant, everything that you need to, get activated out there, man. You're stepping out on those dates, you're going outside. You just got to make sure you're coming correct, man. It's a lot of competition out there, fellas. So trust CP the franchise. And go out and get that Lawnmower 4.0. No testimonials. That's the only thing I'll tell you guys, man. No testimonials. All right, so to our guys at Manscaped. Let me fix my focus on my lens there a little bit. Okay, let's see. Who we got on the phones here, man? Seems like people want to weigh in on the topics. Let's go to Cameron from Beantown. Cameron, how you feeling, man?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Good, man. What's going on?
I mean, I've been watching this show since like the beginning of summer. I really enjoy what you guys have been doing on the show and discussing the news Knicks Weekly. It's been such a great thing to watch literally every time you guys are on. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
Appreciate it.
And I wanted to just talk about the Donovan Mitchell trade and status and what's kind of going on with that. I want to know what your take is on it right now at this moment, because now we're in August and we're starting to get towards the beginning of preseason. Only 2 more months left. We're kind of getting to this point where we're kind of in limbo mode. But I just want to know what your status was on it. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still in a stalemate, man. I think it's still in a stalemate, and neither side seems to want to be able to move off of what they're looking for in Ainge's case or what they're looking to give up in Leon Rose's case. And so we'll have to see, does this thing drag into September? Do other teams get involved? Does a KD trade potentially affect things? Right now, I think it's still a 2-team race, man. And it's just a matter of, is Ainge going to let off of his price? I think it's just a matter of, is Ainge going to let off of his price? I don't think it's not stopping the Knicks from making further moves. I think, the Brunson and Hartenstein moves were, the primary moves for free agency. And then this Mitchell thing kind of came about, and the Knicks have the assets to go get him. But I don't think it's holding up, their plans going into the season in terms of roster construction and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can just see, with the whole the idea of bringing Mitchell in, it kind of brings that extra star player, and it brings this motive to this team after bringing in Brunson and adding that extra fire to the Knicks already. I mean, bringing in Mitchell, does that add to a playoff race? Do we feel like we're so close to almost being able to contend for a deep playoff race? And I feel like this Mitchell trade would just change everything for the team, morale and just how everything would work out with Leon Rose too. Even that,
Yeah, it could, and appreciate it. I mean, that would be his biggest get. That would be his biggest get is bringing the Spider home. Does it put him in a deep playoff race? I don't think so. Not in the onset, and it also depends on who the final pieces of that deal are. If you're going to get rid of all your depth, that's definitely not going to put you in a deep playoff race. The hope is that you still have something to play with or build with going into the future with Donovan Mitchell as one of your star players for sure.
Yeah, if you get Donovan Mitchell, you have some solid depth. I can see this team being a second round playoff team. Get into the second round, get into the semis. If you're starting to lose depth, that's tough. Because as we saw Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, 2 primo all-stars not have depth on the team. Granted, you could say, well, they didn't have time to play together. Well, injuries happen, stuff happens throughout the season. You're not always going to be able to play with each other. Not everyone's going to be healthy through an 82-game season. You hope they can be. Not really likely. Even the Celtics, what was it? I think it was last year. I think the Celtics were actually one of the anomalies of a team that was still healthy for most of the season and played together. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I'm pretty sure they were. I'm not sure if it was this season. I know last season. I know the season before they weren't, but I think they were this season. And when you have that, when you think of that, having guys who are going to be there together, you think about depth. If you don't have depth, you're not going far. It's just not happening. Maybe you can. We go get the Chicago Bulls. There's a good example. DeMar DeRozan on an MVP type caliber season.
Yep.
Lost Lonzo Ball. Got Alex Caruso back. Still couldn't go past the Milwaukee Bucks. Sure, you're talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. They were the reigning champs at the time, but still they didn't have enough depth to even take them to a 7-game series.
That's a fact.
You need depth. You need guys who are healthy because you can't just bank on one guy. And the thought of just like getting Donovan Mitchell and then banking on Donovan Mitchell to carry you all the way to the second round or even an Eastern Conference Finals doesn't really happen like that often. It's not often you get someone like. That's why I hold Jimmy Butler like such high regard, because Jimmy Butler has legitimately carried like a team. Granted, it's been a good team effort,
right.
when even though Colorado wasn't solid during the playoffs. You got Tyler Hero, who's a 6-man candidate. You got all these guys that played well. Did Tyler Hero win 6-man of the year? Did he win 6-man of the year?
Who won the NBA 6-man of the year? Was it Hero? You might be right.
Was it Hero? I think it might have been Hero, but regardless, you talk about it was a good team effort for Miami Heat, but still, Hero. Jimmy Butler being I thought so. Mm-hmm. But you talk about Jimmy, who was the catalyst, right? So I hold him in high regard for being able to do that, but it's very tough. It's so tough to do that, just so tough. So, and where's it stand right now? It comes back to being September, right? We talked about this earlier on the pod. Guys who were traded from the Timberwolves.
And the
have to be on the team for at least, from the Gobert trade, have to be on the team for at least 2 months. So guys like I can't remember everyone's name right now off the top of my head. Pat Bev. We're talking about what's his name from Nuggets and play on the Wolves. Who is it? Shooter. Who's it? Who? Because
Malik Beasley.
Thank you. Guys like that who are coveted who are coveted. They can't be traded until September. So that's why I think there's also been a hold on what can happen, because in order to trade those guys, like I said, 2 months have to pass. Maybe the Knicks do want it. Going back to what Michael Scotto reported, Knicks were interested in Malik Beasley. Maybe there's still some interest right there. If you do get rid of someone like Quentin Grimes, maybe if you do trade Cam Reddish in another deal to the Lakers, right? Especially if you're trying to shed Julius Randle and send him over there and get Westbrook and dump Westbrook. Maybe you get Beasley on this team to add that shooting and that wing depth. Maybe that does happen. But that can't happen until September comes around. So I think that. I also think like Ainge, you also talked about it. Like Ainge is trying to see what he can get. He's trying to stir up the market. As of right now, no one else is like in this bidding war.
Right.
So everyone's at a stalemate. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting to see him.
No question about it. Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. We're talking Cam Reddish. We're talking Donovan Mitchell. We're taking your phone calls, 657-383-1509. Shout out to Eric Nefron. GFR says Cam's career is on the line. Guys like him show up in the draft every year without his injury history or game film. So Eric is not too impressed. Jeremy Maynard says, faith, hope, and love, fam. In an honest world, Reddish with RJ starts at the wings. On the Knicks, we shall see. Okay, let's see what happens, man. It's more on the Cam Hive. Let's talk to Kevon from Jersey. Is it Kevin or Kevon?
It's Kevon.
Kevon, how you feeling?
Close enough, brother.
How you feeling?
I'm good, brodies. Mm-hmm. Shout out to CP, man. I see you out here, man. You really doing that. Shout out to you too, Alex. But I wanted to go back to what we were talking about with Cam. Mm-hmm. I think we have a good problem. Like the brother was saying earlier, we have a relatively good issue with depth. I think we have the deepest team we've had in a while, a lot of young talent, and Cam Reddish is like, to me, just stands out, on paper. And I think that his relationship with RJ, I think the front office should actually look at that. And we have to consider how much, maybe shipping him away would perhaps, affect the mindset of RJ as him being our young star. And I wanted to know what you guys thought about that. With RJ, he's got that max contract situation potentially coming up. And, there's a lot of things that go into that decision beyond just money. So I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
Yeah.
Some background details on that.
Appreciate it. I'm not very familiar with the extent of their relationship, how close they are they not close. I'm not so sure about that. Would the Knicks confer with RJ in terms of, signing him to the max deal, whether he wants to keep Cam? Maybe, but I think also Cam is gonna, Cam like Eric in the chat said, Cam's career is on the line here, or at least he's trying to get himself a bag. He's got about 2 more years to really make a name for himself, and so I think Cam is going to go to the highest bidder. Would that be the Knicks? I'm not so sure. And does he get traded before that time? Time will tell. Time will tell. To me, if he was going to be, a prominent piece of their plans, I think they would make a way for him. It just doesn't seem like it right now. Anything can happen as training camp comes closer and you get into the preseason and whatnot. And again, hey, who knows? Injuries happen as well. That can change the arcs of certain players, and maybe that elevates Cam. You just never know. Just never know, man.
It's just, like you said, anything can happen. I mean, we haven't heard reports about Cam really. There hasn't been a lot of discussion about Cam. It's been quiet on the Cam front until we saw this video. So, I mean, I think it was at the beginning that we heard that Cam was training and trying to get his shoulder right. I forget who reported it. I'm sorry, I can't remember who reported that right now. But that was like the last that we heard of Cam until now. So,
yeah, if
there was some interest or like some like high intrigue in the Knicks in making Cam, featured in this office, I feel like we would have had some more like articles, more discussions about him, but we just haven't seen that.
Haven't seen it. And again, knowing who the coach is, I'm not so sure, man. Not so sure, man. All right, let's we'll table the Cam topic for now. You guys can always call in at the end, and we can talk about it. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up.
We know JD wants to talk about it.
Right, of course. Shout out to JD. This was another interesting one here, Al. Over the weekend, Bobby Marks of ESPN wrote an article on the Lakers and the outlook for the free agents who they have not signed yet, and obviously one of them that has come up is one Carmelo Anthony. And here's what Bobby Marks said: the best fit this offseason for Carmelo Anthony is the New York Knicks. He says Anthony can still help the Lakers, but there is a clear emphasis on young players off the bench. New York has 2 open roster spots and possibly more if a Donovan Mitchell trade occurs. A return to his former team is Anthony's best option. I mean, my opinion, and I want to hear yours as well, Al, is that if the team stands pat and you don't make a Mitchell trade, I'm not bringing him back. I'm not interested. And Melo's my guy. He's my favorite player, maybe of all time. Next, maybe of all time. Next to Penny, next to Patrick Ewing, I can name a ton. I'm not bringing him back because we just talked about Cam. We talked about Grimes. We need to see these guys playing, right? I don't feel like this team is, a second round lock, even a first round lock, to say, let's bring Carmelo in here and solidify our bench. Why would I bring him in here knowing that the coach, who has a proclivity to play veteran players, is going to lean on him, at the detriment of my younger players? And look, Melo is my guy. He would help us with our shooting needs. We just talked about us not being a good shooting team. He started the year off well last year, not so much to finish the season. No doubt he can help the bench with some scoring punch, some shooting punch. Not doing it at the detriment of the young players. If we don't get Mitchell, the young players need to continue to be emphasized, meaning I'm looking to transition from a Fournier to a Grimes and a Cam. I'm looking to transition some of our younger pieces into the mix. More Obi, more Cam, so on and so forth. Now, if you go get Donovan Mitchell and your depth is compromised, okay, bring him in. But if not, I'm okay, man. That's just how I see it. I'm good.
I 100% agree with you on if you get Mitchell, because somebody's getting moved, or even if it's the Julius Randle move for Russell Westbrook and a spot opens, you bring Melo home instantly. No questions about it. Mm-hmm. Bring Melo. I think he'd be a great role model for Obi. I think he'd be a great role model for everyone on the team. You know, that veteran leadership, understanding how to be the guy in New York, took a lot. You know, he shouldered the weight of wearing the heaviest jersey in the league. So he already knows what it's like to play in Madison Square Garden. I think that would be great. I don't know, man. Even if we don't open up a roster spot, I know it's tough because he still needs playing time, and he would want playing time because of how good he is, right? And we know how he is, and that's like, it's where I'm conflicted, because I still think he'd be a great role model on this team. I think you still need that veteran presence on this team. So I wouldn't be upset if he came back, even with the roster as it is right now. But I also understand how you feel, where it's like, you got Tom Thibodeau here. You also got Mel, who's still good, who could still play, who could still contribute to a team. And I'm looking at Obi, who he needs his minutes. I'm looking at the wings. It's tough because all those guys need their minutes. You got Julius Randle. He's not losing any minutes. He's got paid. If you're trying to move him, he's got to play.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's tough. I get it. But there's still a part of me that would love to see Mel back in the Knicks jersey. Just like, I don't know, just being that role model, man. There's this part. It's just there. It's just there.
Look, I'm with you, man. I would love to see it. I just don't feel like it makes sense for this team where they are right now, where they're trying to go. I just don't see it. I just don't see it make sense. You don't need it. You don't want to bring in a vet of his profile, of his caliber, who you have to basically play minutes. The politics comes into play. You know, the questions from the media. Where was Melo tonight? Why didn't Melo play? I just think you're gonna get all of that. You know, I just don't think we need it. I just don't think we need it. That's just my opinion, man. What do you guys think in the chat? Leave us some comments in the chat. Let us know where you stand. Are the Knicks the best team for number 7, Carmelo Anthony, to come back? To me, you can go check out Golden State. Go check out Boston. Check Memphis. We just talked about Memphis needs some shooting. Go check Memphis. Why isn't LeBron bringing them back?
He gave his jersey away already.
Yeah, they gave his jersey away to who was it? Detroit Brown Jr.? The disrespect, man. Oof. How about Phoenix?
Did you say Philly?
Hey, Philly. I think Philly could use some more shooting off their bench. I still don't feel like they addressed that. You know, I think Philly could use some more shooting off the bench for sure. Somebody in the chat said Milwaukee Bucks. Not a bad one either. Too. Yeah, not a bad one either. It's interesting, you know, to see him still on the sidelines like that. But again, maybe he's waiting to see where the whole KD thing, KD, Kyrie, Mitchell. Maybe Melo's waiting, man. Maybe he's waiting. Couple other odds and ends around the league. Let's get to Austin Rivers had some interesting things to say about his time with the Knicks, if anybody cares. Does anybody care about Austin Rivers? Let's talk about Austin Rivers for a little bit, man.
Wow. Wow.
This is Knicks Weekly, man. We got to get to it and react. Austin Rivers on his time with the Knicks. Here's what he had to say.
Catching strays.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. People have asked me what's my biggest regret of my career. I really do wish, if there's any situation I would have wished would have worked, I really wanted to be able to play for the Knicks.
Yeah, this guy.
I was there. I really wanted that situation to work out, and I felt like I was playing pretty well there. And thought I was playing in the Garden was incredible, and I wish I could have played there when the fans came, bro. I played before. Bro, think about it. I signed the Knicks and got to play the Madison Square Garden. and then to come back into the arena.
Yeah, his feet was buffering a little. Shout out NBA New York for capturing this.
And then that playoffs with the Hawks, they had all that stuff, like whatever. Obviously, it didn't go well, but man, that to this day kind of bothers me.
All right, Al. So Austin Rivers says he still has regrets from his days with the Knicks, man. Came here for a cup of tea and then got chipped up out of here. It's an ugly business, man. It's an ugly business. Do we remember the Austin Rivers game? He owned the Utah Jazz, man, and that's probably not a good endorsement for Donovan Mitchell again, as he got cooked by another guard. But but shout out to Austin Rivers, man, because you know when we played the pandemic games, he was a hero for the Knicks against the Jazz for 2 nights, two nights of the season, man.
He was doing okay. I mean, he said he was doing. Did he say he was doing great?
Who, me?
Did he say he was doing good? No, Rivers. Did he say he was doing?
No, I don't. Wait, did he say he was doing great? I didn't hear that. But he certainly regrets not being able to deliver for the Garden Faithful.
Look, man, we needed a point guard. All right, he's not a point guard. We got Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose carried this team. It's an ugly business, man. Ugly business.
Tough
Rose
business,
Hive
man.
turned up. All right. If there's a Rivers Hive, I don't know. Austin Rivers to be exact. But he was okay. He owned the Jazz. We needed a little bit more facilitating. He's more of a score first guy. We had him and Quickly out there. So it was a little redundant. But it was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
He had the game against the Jazz at MSG, man. The Knicks were down by like 18. He dropped 14 in the fourth. Everybody was going crazy. That post-game episode was off the chain. I definitely remember that. And then he had the other one where they go to Utah, and I think he dropped like, what was it?
He was scorching.
Scorching like 5 straight 3, 15 straight shots, something like that. And then...
Yeah, he was like...
And then Tibbs took him out, and he didn't come back in until like late in the third quarter when the Knicks were losing.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You couldn't make it up. You could not make it up. No, let me. I'm trying to find the exact stat from the game in Utah. Okay, in 12 minutes of action, he had 25 points, making his first 10 consecutive shots off the bench. Helped the Knicks build a 13-point lead at halftime. And then I don't think we saw him again until midway through the third, when it was already too late. Ice cold.
He was keeping us in that game. And then Tibbs did the...
took him out.
You know how you say keep feeding the hot hand?
Oh, my God.
I've never seen a coach go completely in the opposite direction of feeding the hot hand.
Didn't go back into the game until 8 minutes into the second half. The game.
I remember watching that being so frustrated. I was like, did he just pull a guy who didn't miss a single shot? And then Rivers comes out, and then he's cold, and then he can't shoot.
And then he couldn't shoot. You can't make it up, man.
Could not believe what I saw.
Can't make it up.
What? It was like it's like the known rule in basketball. Feed the hot hand. Feed the hot hand. I feel so frustrated. Because we lost that game too. And I feel like we had that game. He was keeping us in that game.
He was keeping us in the game. That doesn't come back until 8 minutes left in the third. Can't make it up.
Oh, man.
You can't make it up. But big up Austin Rivers, man. You know, it was a situation I hoped it was going to work out. Didn't pay much for him. It was just one of those things, man. Just wasn't the right time. Obviously, when we got D Rose, Got D Rose and went straight to the playoffs. So it was a worthwhile gamble. He knew the deal. He knows the business. He's a kid of the business, product of the business. He knew. He even mentioned it when they got Derrick Rose that, or no, I think he said when they signed him or when they acquired him, they said that we're trying to get Derrick too. So don't get too comfortable here. You know what I'm saying? Don't sign a mortgage. Sign a lease. At the end of the day, so that's how the business goes, man. That is how
CP's advice for all role players. Yeah. Sign a lease.
Sign a lease. Sign a lease. Don't get that mortgage. Sign a lease. All right, and the last thing on the docket, salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We are here next weekly reminiscing about the Austin Rivers game. You know, good times, the good times, good memories for the Knicks and the Knicks faithful. Here was another interesting one. Shout out NBA New York again. This was from courtesy of CNBC. Longtime MSG analyst Jonathan Boyar tells CNBC that the Knicks and the Rangers parent, MSG Sports, is likely to sell after the Vegas concert venue, the MSG Sphere, is completed next year. Here's what Jonathan had to say, courtesy of CNBC here. Let's see what he has to say.
Their sister company, Madison Square Garden Entertainment, is currently about to finish a project in Las Vegas called the Sphere. And we think it's likely that after that is done, James Dolan, who controls the company, will sell the teams. Mm-hmm. And what's really interesting is private equity has gotten involved in a big way. And it wouldn't surprise us to put a marker on one or both of the teams if private equity decides to take a stake. It's worth noting that Silver Lake owns about 9% of the company. The Egyptian billionaire owns about 5% of the company. So there's a lot of things that could happen.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people, you know, took this video and you know, began speculating, and some people getting excited and so on and so forth. But there's a couple things here, though. You know, there's a couple things. Number one, this guy Jonathan Boyar, he owns an investment in a research firm, one that has a stake in MSG. He's been saying this since 2019. This isn't the first time or the first appearance that he's either been asking Dolan to sell the team or speculating that the Knicks that he's going to sell the team. Maybe he will sell the team. Who knows? But all I'm saying is that this guy, as a shareholder, is looking out for the shareholders' best interest, which for Knicks fans is not a bad idea. Many people want him to sell the team. What he's basically saying is that he's been against this whole MSG Sphere construction project out in Las Vegas. It's supposed to be the state-of-the-art concert venue that Dolan has been boasting in Las Vegas. Still not done yet. I went out there in 2019. I saw the construction being started on it. It kind of looks like the Technodrome for my Ninja Turtles fans. You know, if you go back, Al, that might be before your time. I don't know if you know about all that. You know what I'm saying?
Here we go.
Kind of looks like the Technodrome. It's kind of fire. But you know, every year, so Summer League, Dolan's out there. He's out there for Summer League, and he's out there for the Sphere and whatnot. Anyway, this guy Jonathan Boyar has been against that investment. Cost $1.7 billion. He thinks it's a risky investment. Doesn't feel like Dolan's going to get a solid return, or the shareholders. Remember, MSG's a public company. Doesn't feel like the shareholders are going to get a solid return on their investment, and so he feels like he wants better value from this entity, these entities. You have MSG Entertainment, you have MSG Networks, you have MSG Sports. He feels like by selling the team, obviously the shareholders will realize better gains if Dolan does that. You sell the team, you sell it to a new owner goes in, makes it required investments. The team increases in value as they win. Team wins, stakeholders win. But you know, this is his angle. So all I'm saying is just to sum it all up, I just don't think it's anything that's imminent or anything that's guaranteed. You know, I think he's just putting it out there. The guy's been if you go back, these guys been doing interviews since 2019 saying that the Knicks are going to sell the team. So I just don't. I wouldn't take any much stock in this report. But I don't know. What do you think, Al?
I'll believe when I see it. I'll believe when James Dolan sells the team.
Yep.
Sure, it sounds good. Like, yes, there's the financial aspect of like selling the team and like how it could help shareholders and so forth. But there's also just amongst owners some sort of cachet when you own a sports team, you know? And there's still value to the New York Knicks. He also made the same argument, which I can continue to say today, that if the value of the real estate is going to go up, plus with the ownership of the Knicks and the Rangers, then it's going to continue to increase in value too, right? even for a losing team, it's continued to increase in value. If the team starts winning while Dolan has it, it may even be worth more.
For sure.
Just because of the tourist attraction, the location, everything. We're talking about the Mecca. I don't see Dolan selling this team at all. Unless he's getting like a Godfather offer.
Yeah.
All right.
No question.
That's how I expect. But also, like I said, cachet. There is a cachet when you own a sports team. A lot of people want to own a sports team. You look at guys who try to even enter and like buy, like I forget all the sales that have occurred over the past years. I think the most recent one was the 76ers not too long ago.
Yeah.
But even still, like, look at the value that you bought the 76ers for then to what it is now. It's jumped dramatically in value. The owners love to be able to show like it's just a drop in the bucket to their portfolio. All right. He's still got MSG. He's got all these other ventures, the venues and everything that he owns as part of that portfolio. To have the Knicks as part of that portfolio, there's no way I see him getting rid of the New York Knicks anytime soon. I understand the reporting and how it helped maybe in the short term, but you could also argue for the long term, especially if you believe that the front office that the Knicks have, that this is going to be a winning team. You get Donovan Mitchell back. You can increase ticket prices even more.
Right.
To get into the playoffs and all this. You'd rather keep the Knicks than sell them.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we seen like it could be like a losing season and courtside seats are close to $1,000 for a losing team? What happens when it's a winning team?
No question about it, man. No question about it. I agree with you there. Most valuable team in the league, $6 billion plus, northwards of $6 billion. Most valuable team in the league. You consider MSG Network. Yes, you have people cutting cords and the whole cable infrastructure is evolving to say the least, right? So we'll see what happens there. But nevertheless, with the infusion of all this gambling money, all the gambling advertisements, go watch a Knicks game on MSG, BetMGM. You see my man cheesing and grinning all the time. I don't even know what the point of his commercials are. CL Smooth. You see my man always cheesing and Caesar this, Caesar that. I don't even know what he's talking about, but he's on there. You got a BetMGM. You have DraftKings. You have all the sports betting shows that they have right now. My guy Jeff Johnson is the host of one. You have David Tyree, all these guys, Eric Coleman, former Jet, on these shows. It's only going to keep getting bigger. And then once you get into in-game betting and being able to bet not just on a whole game, but by the minute, by the second, as 5G gets more and more incorporated into our networks.
Yep.
And listen, this is just getting started, man. This is just getting started, and it's going to have more people watching these games, more casual fans watching these games, who are interested in making a buck.
You got to think about the merchandise sales that he gets, the advertising, everything that goes on top of that. When you're, the one thing that we keep talking about, like for and I'm going to take it away from like being the owner. We talk about when athletes come here, the one thing that you could count on, even though you don't get the major, you may not get like the massive contract, you get the endorsements, right? You'll get the endorsements, especially if you're in New York. Look at RJ right now. I see him on Instagram making PB&Js.
Yeah, right.
He's making high class PB&Js.
Yeah, right.
And that's only the beginning for him.
Yeah.
Right? Olive oil and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
When you put and just to say that, right? Being in New York, think about it as an owner now. Your player starts to get that. There's more eyes on the player. Who's that? Who's RJ Barrett? You start to learn who that is. You saw Julius Randle in the car commercial last season, right?
Yeah.
You start to see all these players. Like you start to learn. Guys want to go. People want to go to the games. It just keeps adding up. All this brings attention to the team. It's all woven together. So owning the Knicks is a better investment than selling it for a short-term gain in your shares. Because once you lose that team, the next person that gets it,
Kagan,
it's gonna be valuable.
No
it's
question.
Gonna be valuable.
No question, man. I said CL Smooth, and it's JB Smooth. JB Smooth. I said
JB
CL Smooth.
yeah.
Not CL Smooth.
Yeah, not P Rock and CL Smooth.
No. JB Smooth, man. Listen, man. When you run in a live show, you got your eyes on many things, man. You're liable to slip up a couple times, man. So errors happen, but salute to everybody in the chat for having fun with it. All right, let's wrap up with a couple of calls. Let's see who's waiting here in the wings. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's go to Brandon Douglas. Been waiting for a little bit. Brandon, what's going on?
What's going on, CP? Peace, brother. How y'all doing today?
Good, man. How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling wonderful. Thank you for the invite, for the Discord and the call. I've been watching you guys for a while.
No doubt.
I just wanted to provide insight for some things that you guys brought up. You pretty much watch the show every day. It was a day that you, JD, and Alex was talking about who should get traded if you had to do the Donovan Mitchell. I believe that you said you would keep Grimes. I want to say Alex said that he would keep Quickly, and JD said it would be Obi, I believe. I believe that the way how the game is transitioning now is that it's a lot of like small ball but length and wings. I would love to see keep Cam Reddish and Grimes if we're going for Donovan, because I picture a lineup as in Brunson and Mitchell's in the same lineup together. But what happens when I think Mitchell played 30 minutes and averaged 25 points? I think once Brunson sits down, having a Donovan Mitchell, Grimes, having a Cam Reddish on the floor who could supply some length and defense will be very helpful to utilize. But you have to actually part ways with Obi and Randall. So then when you said not bringing in Melo, would you see like those veteran players coming in like a Melo or Rudy Gay? And why aren't we looking like at somebody like a Jordan Clarkson? Because the Jazz has to blow up that whole team if they don't want to win games. And Jordan Clarkson can win you 25 games by himself if you give him the green light.
I'm not so sure about that part. But I get you. I get what you're saying. Number one, there is a value on wing depth and positional versatility. No question about it. And I think Cam certainly helps you there. I think Grimes to a lesser extent, but certainly a very smart and heady defender, even though if Grimes was 6'7" as opposed to 6'5", now you're talking. But nevertheless, I still think he can hold his own even in shorter on lineups where he's at less of an advantage, because I think he is. I think his defensive awareness is solid. Now, again, if you're giving up a Julius and an Obi in that deal, which I don't think you would give up both, then again, a Carmelo certainly makes sense. Can a Clarkson get thrown into a deal like this? I would hope a Bogdanovich can get put into a deal like this, because we could use his shooting on this team. So you just don't know how this deal can evolve by the time we hit September, if it does go down, and who the players that will be involved. Just never know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Jordan Clarkson would be interesting because you got Emmanuel Quickly here. If Emmanuel Quickly was traded, I consider Clarkson more so. I feel like once again that's a little bit more redundant. Like Clarkson's is a shoot first, like truly a score first type guard. He's not really the facilitator that you need. I think Quickly offers more facilitating than just being like a pure score first guy. And that's why I like him and D Rose as a backcourt for the second unit, because they can both work off of each other, where D Rose can take the reins and be the scorer, Quickly be the facilitator, or vice versa. Clarkson not so much unless Quickly unless Quickly was like thrown in the deal. But yeah, I mean, I get where the caller is going with wing depth. It's tough thinking about it, but then when I look at I know UCP want to keep Grimes. I just look at if you get Donovan Mitchell, where's Grimes getting those minutes? Because you're going to have RJ then play the 3. So you're not swapping out RJ. You're keeping RJ there. I look at then the second unit. Okay, so now you got Quickly and Rose.
Oh, who knows? If you're not trading Grimes, you're trading Quick, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Quick is gone, then obviously that makes sense. But I'm thinking for me it was Quickly, right? I kept Quickly.
Yeah.
Who's playing the 3 there? If Evan Fournier is thrown, you would have to think Evan Fournier is thrown in the deal. If Derrick Rose is here, maybe you keep a Cam Reddish to keep it young. Maybe, because if you're keeping Quickly, that means Grimes has got to go. There's no way that you're keeping both of them.
Yeah.
Unless Obi's going, and then you really believe in Randall. But I feel like it's either Quickly or Grimes that are probably going to be at the top of just who they want, who Utah would want. So if one of those guys go, one of those guys is staying. So that's why, like, I think Quickly is going to be the guy staying. That's just my opinion. You say Grimes. If that happens, one of those guys is going. So then if that happens, I would see Cam staying. So as much as I like Grimes, I think Grimes can offer a lot. This is where I'm like okay with if the Knicks stay status quo.
Yeah.
Like if the Mitchell doesn't happen, I'm fine seeing what do we have in these young guys. Because the last thing I need to see is then see Grimes go over to Utah and just ball out and be like, oh my God, what could have been?
What could have been, man.
I'd be happy with Mitchell, don't get me wrong, but I'd still be like, oh my goodness, what could have been? So yeah.
Nah,
those are my feelings on it.
I'm with you 100%, man. All right, let's wrap these up. A couple more rapid fire. Let's go out to Seattle. JT, what's going on?
Hey, what's good, CP?
How you doing, bro?
Good. I just gotta say, I want no part of Rudy Gay. None.
Yeah, he's done his days.
None.
He's done his days.
None. No. He's done. But I will say, honestly, I agree with Al. Like, we should just keep it packed and wait till like the trade deadline before we try to trade anybody. Let's see what we got. And also, like, for me personally, like, everyone's putting in work in the summer. Like, I'm not trying to. I know you're trying to ship out IQ. Like, he's chopped liver, but I'm like, nah. Like, he's putting up 50, he's putting up 40. Like, I just gotta see how this plays out. Because, like, I've maintained this the whole time. Like, I want to see what this squad looks like without Tibbs. Like, that's the first person that needs to go before any trade. Before any trade. No, I'm serious, though. Like, Tibbs needs to go. Like, before even Randall gets traded. Like, Randall, you know what I'm saying? Like, they haven't had, like, in my opinion, like, good offensive coaching, except with Woody. And that was one of the better years. So I'm just like, nah, I'm not trying to do it. But, yeah, really appreciate what you're doing. Appreciate you dropping the gems, using the word, like, proclivity. I was just like, okay, we're going up another bar.
Proclivity, man. That's it, man.
Yeah, I feel it's big time though. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the season. But I think we need to start. I hope y'all do a segment on, you know, when should Tibbs go? Because I think that's the first thing that needs to happen. I think the front office is doing their job. Players are working. You know, it's time for Tibbs to go.
Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call. And let's hear from Andrew from BK. Andrew, how you feeling, man?
Yo, I'm good. CP, Alex, salute. All right.
Salute, man.
Long time viewer. I'm gonna try to keep this quick.
Yeah.
Even the dark days, different staff, feels good, right? So quickly on the Austin Rivers thing, I think Joakim Noah said it. New York was too lit for him. I think he kind of fits that boat as well.
Yeah.
I want to talk like Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. And Brunson came to the team to kind of have more of a ball dominant position, kind of be the leader. And I feel like with a smaller role on the Mavericks, he actually did great. He excelled in the playoffs. But if Donovan Mitchell comes to the team, he might be in the same position that he was before. And I guess my question is, do you think Jalen Brunson can be a Donovan Mitchell if he has the ball in his hand and is allowed to take more shots? That's it. Salute to you guys, man.
Thanks, man. I don't think he'll be Donovan Mitchell. But there's no doubt, you know, him having the ball in his hands a little bit more. I think he'll still be an excellent player, man. I think his skill sets in the mid-range, his ability to use his body, his footwork, the way he plays a physical game to compensate for his lack of height. I still think he's going to be an effective scorer here. How will the spacing impact things? You know, with Julius and Mitch out there, I think that'll be left to be seen. But can he be a Donovan Mitchell? No, I don't think he could be a Donovan Mitchell. But I think he's going to be a good player for us.
Yeah, I think you summed it up right there. I don't see a Donovan Mitchell player in Jalen Brunson, because you're then asking, is he that guy that can just carry you?
Right.
I'm not even just can he carry you for like most of the season? I don't think so. Like, I don't think he's that guy. We keep saying that he's going to steady the ship. I think even he himself is not. I think he answered in a Q&A like, I'm not here to be the savior. Like, Donovan Mitchell is. I put Donovan Mitchell not as the savior, but in that savior stratosphere. Like, you get Donovan Mitchell here, this team catapults to being a playoff team.
Yeah.
Brunson, he steadies the ship.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Agreed. Well said. Well said, Al. And on that note, great show, man. Great show. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Excellent show of Knicks Weekly. Hey, Spider Watch continues, man. We'll see how that goes. Al, did you see? We didn't speak since the Pro-Am, man. You were on vacation. Me and JD touched down on the Bronx to cover the Pro-Am. Yeah, they lost, and fans were salty and everything, man. But hey, Jalen Brunson said he's coming to KnicksFanTV, man. So we got to schedule that out, man. Yeah,
you got the photo. Got the photo op with him. That was awesome. Salute to you
of the show,
and JD for being there. Salute to you and JD for being there, capturing it. Giving the viewers everything that they needed to see what was happening. All right, should have gone, horizontal from the get-go, CP. But we won't kill you for that.
See, here's the thing, man. When these things happen, like I told everybody, man. When you going live on location, you got to deal with all the elements. You got to deal with all the elements and be able to adjust on the fly. So the first thing that hit me was for some reason, well, number one, when you go into those gyms and you're in those concrete buildings, you're 4G, 5G, forget about it. You're done. Only in MSG, where I think there's a Verizon tower on MSG, can I do a live stream without being on the Wi-Fi. But I still like to be on the Wi-Fi at MSG. So nevertheless, I'm at the school. I'm on the school Wi-Fi. I'm trying to stream on YouTube, and it wasn't letting me cook. I could not. I'm standing on the court at half court, layup lines. I got Julius Obi going off, dunking on the line, and I can't even stream. So then we went to the alternative. We went to Instagram, and I hadn't streamed on Instagram in so long that
throwing it back, man.
I had to remember to turn the camera, turn the comments off. So it took me a little while, but nevertheless, from halftime to the end of the game, we were cooking, and we got several people watching right now to this day. The highlights, shout out to Angel for covering the highlights on the baseline, man. The highlights were crispy. We were using this camera, matter of fact, the same camera. This is a Panasonic Lumix GH4. So I took, first off, I got the word about the game 3:30, scrambled up, hit JD, hit Angel. I had to call the plug to get into the spot because we can't do the line, man. We covering the event, man. You got to roll out the red carpet for us. They are very much accommodating. So shout out to the good people there at Nike Pro City. Shout out to Aaron NYC as well, man. Got there, took good care of us. Just laid out everything for us perfectly, and we were good to go, man. We were definitely good to go.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. I was watching it as I was about to head out on vacation, but the one thing I would say, because I saw the aftermath, I saw them lose. I watched the entire thing. The next day, I watched the entire game. We got to see some good highlights. First off, shout out to Obi, Julius, and Brunson for putting on a show. Okay, it's not everyone's able to afford Knicks tickets and go watch them at the game. So if you're able to go to that arena and go watch NBA players play and then show off some skills like Brunson doing some nice behind the back passing, again, Obi trying to get up high and getting some dunks, and same from Julius. That's just awesome. All right, just from a basketball perspective. Then to see that the Knicks are getting clowned for now losing to guys who are claiming to have worked a 9 to 5 and then showed up to the gym. Can we put some respect on guys who play international basketball?
Yeah.
They're pros too. Can we stop this for a second? They are pros too. I could actually say I played pickup against guys who play internationally. They are damn good. All right. They are knocking down shots automatically. So don't knock these guys just because they're not in the NBA. All right. These guys potentially could be in the NBA, just haven't had the opportunity to do it. So these guys are not 9-to-5ers. These guys can hoop. All right. Go play them in the gym. They're taking you to school. They're taking all 3 meals from you. All right. They're taking everything from you. It's not even a joke. So the fact that they came and competed, shout out to them. But also something that I don't think people know is that these guys, like guys who usually attend these type of games, probably played throughout the entire summer all together.
Yeah.
Unlike Brunson, Obi, and Randall, who are all 3 are playing together at the same time. We haven't had Randall and Obi play together in the season. Brunson's just seeing these guys for the first time, probably like, hey, let's just hoop. The other team's like, yo, we've been balling all day, every day this summer. So they know where everyone's going to be in their spots, this, that, and the third. Of course. Come on, man. These are things you got to consider.
They walked into the belly of the beast. And you know, we're going through the motions. Now, these guys, like I said, Jordan Aaron, Jordan Washington, they came to play, man. They played for keeps. Jordan Washington, he was giving Julius that work. I'm not going to lie to you.
He was working. Yo,
listen.
You saw he wanted to make a statement. He's like, yo, I need to be in the league. I need to be in the league.
He was straight Pat Bev. He was straight abusing Julius all night, man. He would not leave Julius's side. I'm talking about during free throws, he's hawking him. He's trailing him. He didn't give Julius a breather all night, man. I don't like that type of energy, man. Step up, you know, and let these guys know, man, we here, you know. And so, yeah, unfortunately, they lost, but it was what it was. I thought the crowd had a great time. And that's just what it was, man. You know, that's just what it was. All in all, a great event. And as you said, you know, they gave the people a show, and some of these people, you know, hey, MSG is not a cheap ticket, man. So to walk into this place for free and to see, you know, Jalen Brunson, the newest Knick, Julius, Obi, come in and play Obi, you know, don't through the leg dunks and whatnot. That's nice for the community, man. It's nice for the fans, and hopefully they keep this up because, you know, I'm one person who wants to see these guys playing here and not Miami, not the Drew League. And yeah, Quick is from Baltimore, so he's playing down there. So more respect to him. And Brunson did play in Philly, obviously having some roots there as well. But, you know, we want to see our guys playing in New York and playing against some competition like this. Maybe this gets Julius, you know, into a good mindset going into the season, man. Going into hostile territory, you know, getting bullied up a little bit. Maybe he steps his game up to start the season off early, man. We'll see. We'll see what the residual impacts are. Hopefully not bad.
For sure. And the one thing I'll say about this, for people who are like, they lost. Didn't we see Trae Young and DeJounte Murray lose too? Okay.
Yeah.
Did we see LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan win by 1 point?
They won by 1 point.
Against guys who are working 9 to 5 as well?
Exactly. Come on. It's always magnified.
I don't make too much about this, man. I don't make too much about this.
It's always magnified for the Knicks, man. So it just is what it is, man. Anyway, Al, great show. Great show, everybody. Great show to all the mods. Shout out to J Boogie, $20 super chat. Says, be back from vacation next show. Blessings, health, and safety to everybody. Don't worry, I'm in the booth cooking up something serious. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Salute to J Boogie. Remember, folks at home, this show is presented by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. Also, remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format. So all the major podcast platforms. If you missed the show on YouTube, you can always catch it on audio podcast format, you know, typically in the next morning or so. So right in time for the morning commute for those of you on the East Coast and the West as well. And yeah, man, we'll catch up with you guys later on this week. If anything happens, we'll be the first to get it to you. So they're saying that the full schedule release will happen on Wednesday. If it does, we'll come on Thursday to break it all down, man. So we'll have a scheduled breakdown show, and we'll break it all down for you guys, man. So that's the word. I'll have a productive rest of the week, man. I'll catch up with you, man.
You too, bro. And someone said Trae and Collins, so
yeah,
my apologies.
Yeah, Trae and Collins.
Not Trae. I said DeJounte Murray. Trae and Collins.
Big mouth Trae and Collins, man. Shout out to Johnny for the super chat. Fritz Alcindor also sent one. Says, if the Knicks fail to secure Donovan Mitchell, would Mikal Bridges make a realistic plan B? Miles Bridges or Mikal? I don't think Mikal's going anywhere. Miles, I don't think they're going anywhere near that either. You know,
no,
I don't see them getting anywhere near that, man. You know, Okay. Shout out to who else? Who else sent the super chat? Oh, we got a couple more in here. Shout out to Webb, says opening night with Brunson, Spider, RJ, Obi, Mitch, Rob. Dijon Holland says, does the Donovan Mitchell trade get done before training camp? I say yes. ML Naeem says Cam should have stayed at Duke another year. He needs competitive tick to develop his game. Shout out to Haha. He says, I'm not even a Knicks fan, but you got the best show out there, period. Hope y'all can see the Dubs in the finals soon. Man, I have a better chance going to San Fran and watching the Dubs in the finals. But I appreciate the support, man. Definitely appreciate the support, man. All right, we out of here, man. Peace. Later.